Welcome to this morning's episode of the Feel Fresh AF weekly class with Natty Hodges and Tommy Cartwright. Keen to dive into this one. If you don't know us already, we're not going to introduce ourselves. Just go back a couple of episodes that you can find on Spotify or YouTube. You can get to know us, our brand, everything it is that we do. But today we wanted to dive into it pretty quickly because I'm going to actually lean on Nat Hodges, who's head of behavior coaching and all.
Doesn't sound like you, Tommy. Doesn't sound like you to lean on me.
Come on, mate. Come on, the
Sorry.
community
Can't help
knows.
it. I can't help
it. Mate, I'm thinking, where have you been, bro? Let's not get into an old married couple's argument. Mate, yeah, wanted to lean on you this morning. There's been a bit of a common theme for anybody who's listening, who's a bit of a Drinkless Feel Fresh fan, but not a family member yet, so to speak. Every day we run a daily insight video, which is a short 2 to 3 minute psychology, behavioral hack insight into your own world regarding your mindset and how you feel and how you operate on a day-to-day basis. And Nat's been sharing one that got a lot of attraction this week. And that, upon reflection, I don't think we have run a class to the public or a podcast episode on the link between anxiety, anxiousness, and a high alcohol intake. Now, what was it that drove you to not only run one this week, but run 2 daily insight videos, teaching people some really dynamic and fundamental approaches to anxiety that is really not uncovered in the clinical industry?
Yeah. It's 2 reasons. First of all, it's one of the most heavily medicated diagnostic pathways that people take, which is a kind of concern in itself. And the second thing is the reason why it absolutely should not be diagnosed like that. So anxiety is a really uncomfortable experience. It's really, really uncomfortable. That's why it gets so much attention. That's why people, and it is a huge blanket term. Like the anxiety, the term anxiety and the experience of anxiety, it's way too general for what's going on for most people. Like there's so many little ways and intricacies of how and why anxiety happen, and to blanket term that into one generalized diagnosis it's just troublesome. Like it's really, really troublesome. The other side of why it shouldn't be like that is for really, and this is on brand for us, is choice and freedom. Why people today experience anxiety, why every single person should be experiencing anxiety, is because we've created a culture and a society that allows us to be heavily individual. We have the privilege to be as much as an individual as we can handle. And when you want to be an individual, what you're confronted with every day is an unbelievable amount of choices. And what choice and freedom does is it produces anxiety. So
just before you dive into that link, which is even the link between anxiety is almost a gateway for the choice and freedom. It's like the same thing in an essence. Why would it be so paramount for someone to continue listening to this class specifically or episode, if they're listening to it on Spotify, if they're directly wanting to change their relationship with alcohol and perform at a higher level without using substances like alcohol?
Because life is the hardest when you feel you can't progress in the way you want to. Life is the hardest when you feel you can't make a move or a step in the way you want to, and so then what happens is, you turn to dysfunctional behavior. That's kind of how it goes. So when you get pressed into a corner and you don't feel you can do anything about it, then that's when our substances and our other things jump up and grab us. So, anxiety is one of those ones where it's like it's right down the middle. It can feel so crippling, but you'll know, like I've worked with so much anxiety over the years that it's unbelievable how easy it is to get out of it. But
as opposed to reaching for a drink.
You just got to have the right, you just got to have the right perspective, right? So like the primary one I see, probably the main one, is that people have stopped their discovery. They've stopped their discovery on themselves, on their career, on their skills, they've stopped their discovery in place for practicality. Some people go into this really like phase of wherever they are in their life of just keeping things practical, locked down, rational, and productive, And if you do that, that's fine, but you'll end up in a pool of anxiety because all of your discovery processes have stopped. The primary reason the anxiety system turns on, it's a discovery drive. It's asking you to go discover something. And as soon as you do, it stops.
Yeah, it's interesting as you're talking, because when I look back over the past 8 to 10 years now in the industry and my own personal journey, I've so many reflections and moments where anxiety, or brackets the term, and the feeling of anxiety was the number one reason why I did drink. But these days, feeling anxious in any moment is the number one reason why I wouldn't. So I like how you say that. I like how you said that it's all about perspective. Can you give us some straight down the line new perspective on, as opposed to, let's say we're talking a 150, 23-year-old Tommy Cartwright back in the day who's thinking, well, I feel anxious, and anxiousness means I'm insecure, or anxiousness means there's a problem, or anxiousness means there's a threat and I don't want to be medicated for it, so I'll have a couple of drinks to fit in or to socialize or whatever it is. What you shared during the week, just such a new perspective. What is your take on anxiety, why it's around, one of the reasons why it might be showing up in people's lives?
Yeah, anxiety for a 23-year-old, 20 to 28-year-old today, having anxieties is going to be as natural as being warmed by the fire. Because we have the privilege of being a full-blown individual. You can do what you want. You can think what you want. You can believe what you want. You can go explore what you want. And so the cost of that is anxiety. You have the most open world, mind, territory, online spaces. You have a world full of discovery. And if you don't capitalize on that, which is what people have asked for, by the way, people want freedom. So they go, there you go. Have all the freedom you want to explore yourself, to go work and do what you want to do. We have maximum freedom in the world today. The cost for that is anxiety. And if you don't explore the freedom and explore what you're interested in, then the anxiety won't go away. Like if you have a world this free to explore and you choose something out of security, a job, a partner, or something out of security, the anxiety is going to be overwhelming.
Do you think in any way, shape, mate, is there any way, shape, because over my 10 years, I've noticed that, as I said earlier, anxiousness is always a recipe for my growth and discovery drive and levels of success. And I know if I'm not feeling some form of, as you said, it's such a blanket statement, but some form of feeling that I would put probably into the anxiousness, discovery, kind of excited, curious, don't know, can't control what's going on. If I don't have any of that, it's normally the blandest, most unfulfilling times of my life.
This is why creativity is it almost stops anxiety immediately, because no matter what you're doing, no matter how you're being creative, it doesn't matter. You're in a discovery type of mode, and so the anxiety systems just completely cool out, like almost straight away. So it's a drive to creativity, which is a drive to creatively confront the unknown. That's kind of what it's asking for. Creatively confront.
Which sounds like probably one of the best things ever built into our system. But we've just been neglecting it.
You just said it. Look, you've literally just said it. It is a built-in system for us. Yet what we're doing is when you take a natural system and you medicate it, you actually frag the whole system. Like you're medicating over the top of the thing that just wants you to keep going.
You're asking for freedom, and the thing that's about to drive your freedom, you're saying no, thanks, not today.
I don't want that. And you can tell why people get so jammed up.
And then I shouldn't use the word funnily enough. Funnily enough, I'm going to use it. We then think it's the alcohol that's not giving us the freedom.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
Isn't that interesting? But it's the alcohol that I'm stuck to. No, we are stuck unconsciously to the fact that we don't want to step up and deal with our main discovery drive, which is the thing that's going to give us more freedom than ever.
So you get these two polar opposites. I did a class on this probably 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and I just don't think it was. I actually don't think people were ready. I think it was actually probably a bit too much. Because what you see happen is when people are not dealing with their anxiety systems, they go two ways. They go into a big group think, where they kind of retreat into their groups, retreat into either their social groups or their whatever groups they have, you'll see people retreat into group think. So they won't be able to think for themselves. They'll just think as the group is thinking. And if they don't have a group, they'll go this kind of like hyper individual, this kind of like pseudo celebrity kind of stuff, which they just become alienated from themselves. They'll do like crazy stuff on social media, really doing this extreme things to be special. So you'll see these extremes when people are not working with their anxiety. They'll either go into like this group think, can't think for themselves, or they'll change who they are into this kind of alienated character version of themselves. And both ways end up just leaving a mark.
Yeah,
because the answer is staying still in yourself and being with it all. Like, you know.
Yeah, they sound like both. They both sound like two avoidance patterns, right? Like, it's funny you mention that.
Exactly.
I ran our Saturday live Q&A for our Detox Challenge members on Saturday. And just what you were talking about, we dove 45 minutes into that, the ability to not back your individual unique discovery drive and therefore just fall into the group thinking style, which is just such a fast way to not take responsibility for ourselves. And I think that's, hasn't alcohol as an industry really created such a great crux and get away from ourselves? Like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. 3 drinks, not feeling anxious anymore. Who cares?
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I've got 3 things that I normally open people up. Would that be cool to share about this topic?
Yeah.
Sweet. So the first one, if you are feeling this kind of pangs of anxiety, the first one is you've got to go discover something about yourself. You've stopped the self-discovery process. That's the first one. The second one is it's an invitation to creativity. So breaking up the practical routines and getting creative. And as I said, it's not arts and crafts. Get creative with a work project. Get creative with what you're going to do on the weekend. But change your routines up. Get creative. Actually, there's actually 4. The third one is you've stopped engaging what you're most interested in. And when we have a personal interest, personal interest has nothing to do with an outcome. Personal interest is something way deeper. You're interested in something that calls to you or calls for you. That's actually weird in itself. And it's whatever you're interested in, you must keep discovering it. You must keep your finger on the pulse of what you're interested in. And the last one is it's an anticipatory situation. So most people get anxious when they look out in the future and they can kind of see, things could go wobbly here. How is this going to go? And step 2 is going, okay, well, how can I be prepared for however this could go? And that preparation, retooling, reskilling, and reseeing will normally take out the anxiety as well.
Just say the 3, say those 4 again.
So I've got discovery drive.
Yep.
Go discover something. Get creative. Engage in what you're interested in that you may have dropped. And then retool, reskill, resee, which is get planning.
So to me, seems like a very, very functional approach to not solving anxiety, but owning it and using it in your life, as opposed to give me some medication, whether it's a prescription or using alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great prescription, 4-step prescription to just completely fundamentally change your life.
Oh, it will. It literally will. Like it works every single time. I've done years and years and years. This is what I do. This is what to do. This is what to do.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I resonate with you. I used to always think there was a problem to be solved with anxiety for me. Like it was just always like, no, it's a problem to be solved. And these days it's like, I'm feeling so anxious. What's going on here? What do I need to discover? What do I need to get into creativity? Or last point of call, what do I need to learn about myself that I don't know? So when I jumping on the phone with a mentor or a specialist and figuring out, and that thought from like, I'm discovering with a specialist, not I'm working with a specialist to help me solve the
discovery
problem.
drive.
Yeah. What were you about to say?
When I started my business, and I was in these, when you start business and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, what do I do here? I'm so anxious. I need money in the door, blah, 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 blah. Because this is a trade that I'm in, I would just go create a webinar or like pop something up and I would only teach something I was deeply interested in. And so it was like these topics were wild. It's like sometimes one person would show up, sometimes 20 people would show up. And I would just spend the time just diving into what I love to learn about. And sometimes it really hit and sometimes it was a flop. But what would work every single time is my anxiety would vanish.
Mate, we've been mates for years now. I've never heard that, but in literally the same thing in my approach in 2014 when I was trying to, or 2015 when I was really starting to try to tackle my relationship with alcohol. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, every Monday, pretty much any day, if I had a huge urge to either go drink or go hit the pokies or something, I would just not, and I'll jump into Facebook and run a Facebook Live on human behavioral psychology that I was learning. And every time, 100%, I cannot remember one time I finished doing that and I went and had a drink. Not once.
Yeah, there you go.
Isn't that fascinating?
That's crazy.
That's incredible, man. That's unreal. Yeah, that's fantastic. One of our live members is actually sharing, and I will read this out because it's great. Somebody listening live, one of our awesome members, has just shared, open brackets, my current anxiety about an upcoming event has disappeared after doing what Nat said during the week. Beautiful. Honestly, my life is changing.
Oh, great.
Yeah, great. Congratulations and welcome to the results of the rebuild and the detox programs.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Nat, anything else to share on that before we wrap up? Anything else that you feel is necessary?
No, I just think if we can, everyone here can really work with the truth is that you're anxious because you're free. You're anxious because you're a live individual that gets the opportunity and the privilege to make choice. And that's a responsibility. If you want freedom, then the responsibility is, well, then you're going to have to manage all these choices.
That's such a humbling and grounding approach to it. I'm just thinking about, unfortunately, the generations that didn't have freedom.
Yeah, no anxiety.
Being told what to do all day, every day. It sounds like a ignorantly peaceful world.
That's exactly right. I had in my presentation, I had a picture of I had a Russian gulag camp, and I just said, look, these guys have no choice ever, and they will never experience a drop of anxiety. But look at their faces; they're dead. There's no one at home. So no anxiety for sure. You got no anxiety, you got no life.
Wow. Let's finish with that. If you have no anxiety, you have no life.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Every now and then you get a little banger out there, Nat.
Oh, every now and then. That's what I'm here for. So I get paid. That's why Tommy pays me the medium bucks.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's incredible. We'll finish with that.
Yes, Ken. So look at that. Bring on the anxiety. That's exactly the approach. That's perfect.
Yeah, lean into it. So well said. So well said. All right. Team, for all of our GLFF family members that are on here live, so awesome to see you live. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can listen to all the episodes back to the start of the year on Spotify or even on YouTube if it increases your enjoyment in the morning to see our faces. Have absolutely loved today's topic. Here's to drinking less and feeling fresh. What a great way to start the week for those of you that are live here. Continue to challenge the status quo, step out from being the ordinary, step into being extraordinary, and remember that if there's no anxiety, there's no life. Lean into it. Thanks, Nat. Love today.
No worries. See you guys.